Ayo, ladies, gentlemen, fellas, I hope that big old ayo didn't pop your earballs out of place right there. But let me be the first. If you're watching on the YouTube version, they got the pink shirt on. It's the first day right now. Let me be the first to say, hey, welcome to spring. It's officially spring begins today, March 20th, 2021. We made it. We did it. Pack up your bags, winter. Pack up your bags, cold weather, and get on out of here. Get on with your day. We're here. We're ready to go. The nicer weather is coming. The binks are coming. Lots of people winning some dollar rooskies. We're feeling real good about our chances today on this lovely little 4-game slate in the NBA. I got the whole slate projected out already. All my minutes, all my projections are in. We'll change some stuff if we need to for any injuries, potentially Serge Ibaka, who's questionable, but it seems like we're going to be fine. It seems like all the guys who are already going to be out are already ruled out. And I'm here to tell you those quick injuries. I'm here to give you the top 12 plays of the day, and oh boy, we're going to be doing a lot today on this show. Let's do that. Let's project out some lineups since it's only a 4-game slate. Midway through, we can project out some lineups. Let's talk about prize picks. Let's do it all. Let's smack you around. You can smack me back if you want to, okay? Happy also National, while we're out there right now, happy National Proposal Day. Whether you're looking to get married, maybe today, spur of the moment. You know, it's also National Corn Dog Day, so maybe spur of the moment. You put the ring inside the corn dog, you deep fry it, you put it in there. Maybe you can give a fake ring, so you know you don't spend a lot of dollar rooskies to deep fry your motherfucking ring. And then you say, here, eat this corn dog. She eats the corn dog. It's also National HIV Awareness Day, so you tell her you got HIV, and then she eats the corn dog. She's almost choking. She finds the ring, and it's a lovely story on how you guys ended up getting married. Or it could just be National Proposal Day, and you're at work doing some proposal shit. But that way to celebrate all 3 national calendar days is a pretty good one. So you put the ring in the corn dog, you tell her you got HIV, you propose, and then maybe, hopefully it goes good for you. Maybe you're looking for her to say no. Who knows? But, big old booty. Let's do this right now. Like, subscribe, do those things. We'll be live later today around 4:30 p.m. East Coast time for this slate. And also, I might go live, so hitting that notification bell, we'll do a surprise live stream potentially for the MMA slate today. I might go live around 1 or 2 p.m. East Coast time for that one and just kind of approach it from an analytical ownership projection standpoint, build some lineups on screen with the MMA optimizer. So a lot of stuff to do today, but let's get into the injury news now. And there's kind of a lot of it for a 4-game slate. Both the Curry brothers are out. Seth Curry going to be out an extended period of time. I guess I should clarify by saying Steph Curry, Steph, not Seth. Steph is going to be doubtful, expected to be out after missing yesterday. Serge Ibaka has missed his past 2 games, and he is questionable. I am personally ruling him out. I have not ruled him in. I have him for 0 minutes in my projections right now. I will obviously change that on Patreon, follow along with those projections, ranks, a bunch of other stuff down below. Now, Joel Embiid remains out as well. Cody Zeller out today, so you're going to get more center minutes for P.J. Washington, which also moves now Miles Bridges to the 4 more. It also gives Biyombo more minutes. James Wiseman and Eric Paschal remain out, and Pat Beverly remains out, which is going to be a nice little bump for one Reggie Jackson. So, the number 12 play on the day today is right now Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez is too cheap. For the minutes that he's currently been playing, especially for a 4-game slate, we have a nice amount of value on this slate right now, and there's no pay-up options. Right now, if you look at this slate, yes, Giannis is $11,000. Great. After that, there's no pay-up options. Your other pay-up options are likely out today. Embiid's already out, and Seth Curry is doubtful. And then you're at arguably an overpriced $9,500 De'Aaron Fox, and then you're at a couple of 9K range guys in Ben Simmons and Kawhi, who are fine options, but there's really no pay-up options. So we don't need the 3 and the 4K value today. When there's only one guy to go up to and get, and Giannis at $11,000, and we should probably go up there and get him, there's no reason to need to dip down below into the 3K range unless that value is just screaming out we're a good value, and maybe we'll touch on that in this video. But Brook Lopez right now coming in at $5,000, the 1.7x multiplier in Superdraft. I'm not as enticed by that, but I mean, the guy's getting the minutes. I currently have him projected out for 28 minutes today, and that might be low based on the fact that in the last 2 games that have stayed close, Philadelphia and Washington pulled away a little bit later on in the 4th quarter. He's played 37 and 33 minutes. He's kind of pulling away from Bobby Portis in terms of Portis at one time this year was playing like, 22, 23, 24 minutes a game. And then Lopez was getting pulled down to that 24-minute range. Now Lopez, you can kind of insure him in for 26 to 27, and then it's just how high does he go after that. So Lopez right now, if I give him 28 minutes in this game and I project him out for like 0.9 fantasy points per minute at this point, so a little bit less than a fantasy point per minute, he projects out for me currently right now on Patreon down below for about 25.75 points, which is fine. That's exactly what I'll take at $5,000 at that price point. That's fine on a 4-game slate. Guys who are just hitting 5x value start to get into your lineups a little bit more. And if you want to project him for 30 minutes, he starts to climb into my top 10. The number 11, the 1-1. Right? Number 11, Make-A-Wish, playing today is Kawhi Leonard, and we can look at his add more funds if you want to. This is a free site. You can check it out if you'd like. It's linked in the description. Free site, on-off tool, that type of stuff. On the season right now, Kawhi Leonard has played the most minutes on this team, which normally is not the case based on the fact that he rests a lot, but, he's gotten some slack in the past. Last year, things went sideways in the postseason, not the great team environment. Him and Paul George kind of isolating themselves from the rest of the team, so it seems like he's actually trying to play some minutes this year. And he's averaging right now 1.32 fantasy points per minute. The interesting thing to always do with these two guys, though, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, because they should be projecting out for 50 plus points apiece if they're going to both be projecting out for 1.3 fantasy points per minute. But the interesting thing to do is to see how this kind of impacts them when they're on the court together, which is the far majority of their minutes, especially when they both start playing 35 and 36 in a close game. Well, if we zoom in, Paul George starts to average 1.25 fantasy points per minute, and look at this, Kawhi Leonard 1.27. So basically, from a fantasy point projection standpoint, these guys, when they're both in the court, when Paul George is not out, giving Kawhi Leonard a chance to increase his production, right, usage, fantasy points per minute, basically these guys are the same guy. You get Kawhi for around a 23% assist percentage, Paul George for around a 24. You get Paul George for around a 17.5% defensive rebounding rate, Kawhi for about a 16% defensive rebounding rate. These guys are almost identical, 29% usage to 28% usage. So when you're looking at them, really all that it comes down to is who's going to get more minutes. Is Kawhi playing 35 and Paul George only 32? Well, Paul George getting 41 in that last game was pretty encouraging. And what is their price points? So right now, and this is kind of a spoiler alert because Paul George will be on this list, right now with Kawhi Leonard more expensive than Paul George, he's still going to make this list, right? It's a discount. You're getting a discount at a weak position. We talk about it all the time. How do you fill the shooting guard and small forward spot? Shooting guards fill it with point guards, or just fill it with shooting guards who have a lot of high volume, or small forwards. Fill it with guys who play power forward, Larry Nance's past couple of games, or small forwards who have high volume and are productive. That would fit Kawhi Leonard today. He's only small forward eligible. Some of those shooting guard spots in the past would be like guys like Anthony Edwards or DeLon Wright, guys who also are eligible as a shooting guard. So you're getting a really nice buy low spot from Kawhi Leonard, who is my second highest projected player on the slate. I mean, that's how weak the top range is today. Right now, I have Giannis projected for 12 more points than anybody else. If Giannis Antetokounmpo, as long as he's playing today, he's active, he's good to go. If he's not in 100% of my lineups today, I would be very shocked. I would be very shocked because the opportunity cost is just massive. Even if he has a bad game today and scores 54 points, a very bad game for Giannis, scores 50 points, he would still be my highest projected player today, which is just absolutely insane. At some point today, I just saw my laptop was poking up there, which I'm motherfucking doing. At some point today, you're just going to need the overall fantasy points. Now let's get to our number 10 play of the day. It's going to be DJ Spin That Ja Morant. That's not bad, huh? That's not bad. Your fellow Guido Italiano here with the striped white, pink, black line shirt. He can pop up for some DJs. I went to a brewery yesterday, some live music, celebrating my girlfriend paying off her student debt. Shout out to her. Very proud of that lady. I'm very proud of that woman. But yeah, it was very nice to have some nice IPAs while sitting there and just watching some live music. It was very fun. So go ahead and have yourself some fun tonight. Treat yourself tonight, whatever it might be, even if it's not that. Treat yourself to a nice little family night. Treat yourself to a nice little a beer, brewski, even if it's a non-alcoholic, whatever you got to do. Treat yourself to a corn dog, a National Corn Dog Day. Do what you got to do. So before we get into the top 10, I want to let you know about the sponsor of the program today. Let's do it. Prize Picks. I'm definitely not surprised because I see how much I enjoy this game mode in this format in Prize Picks, but I'm actually very encouraged, I would say is the word, by how quickly people are actually taking a keen and enjoying and liking Prize Picks. The Discord is popping off with Prize Picks. Yesterday we started up a live stream and like half of the first couple of comments are, hey, who do you like on Prize Picks today? It's a lot of fun. They're simplifying DFS. What it is you take the over-under on single stats, but I like to do it on the fantasy points, right? On players' fantasy points right now. So they usually add a little bit more later in the day. It's only a 4-game slate, so they probably won't add a lot more. So these are their 8 morning props. And maybe they add like 20 total by the end of the day. Now, I have projections projected here, so we already have them all done. We can kind of talk through some of these things right now. They have the early slate on here as well, so just keep that in mind. The early game right now, there's one in that like 3:30 between Atlanta and the Lakers. I'm personally not going to be probably playing that slate on my end, but we can give some options here. And if you want to use the code SAL, I encourage you to check it out. SAL. It's linked down below in the description. You can get a free money match up to $100. You put in 50, they'll give you 50. You only want to put in 20 and try it out? Fine. They'll give you 20 right back, all the way up to $100. Skis. Encourage you to check it out. It's just taking the more or less the over or under on fantasy points on single stats. You can do it for the NCAA tournament. You can do it for other sports. They have the most offerings sports-wise. But let's look at right now some guys that we can take here. So the first one that pops out to me is going to be Ben Simmons, who Ben Simmons has a 43 over-under right now. I have him on the over. I have Ben Simmons projected for 46.4 points. So that's going to be the first one as of right now that stands out to me. De'Aaron Fox, not really interested in. I have De'Aaron Fox projected for 43.7. Clearly not going to be getting there for me. I have Giannis projected for 59 points and change, so that's appealing. But let's see. We can do up to 3 or 4 guys if we wanted to, but let's see who else we have on here. Draymond Green at 36 fantasy points projected today. I have him at 35.6, so that's a no bet for me. Ja Morant, a 38 fantasy point projection. I have him at 37.8. Again, a no bet for me. And this is going to be the 2. The other ones are here. So we'll see later in the day. As you're looking at this later in the day, potentially, you'll see that more options will come up. But these 2 actually look really good. I have Giannis for almost 4 more points in this 56 projection. I have Ben Simmons for almost 4 more points in this 43. So I would take the over on both of these. You can either flex play it or you can power play it, whatever you feel more comfortable with. And that's where we're going going right now. So if you want to tail these early ones, you can tail them right there. I don't even like any of the other ones right now. If you had to pick another one, I'd pick LeBron, but I'm not going to be picking any other ones. I'm going to be waiting for more props later in the day. We can talk about it later on today on the live stream as well. So again, check it out. It's a ton of fun. I really like partnering just with sites in general that I think have a lot of upside to their game mode and a lot of as simple as possible, right? Not as much game theory here. Just find projections you rely on. If you think they're better than their odds makers and their projections makers, which I personally think that mine are, bam, there you go. So we'll take the over on Ben Simmons and we'll take the over right now on Giannis. Use that code SAL, S-A-L, and you will get yourself a nice little free money bonus up to $100 on Prize Picks. Thanks you, Prize Picks, for being the sponsor of the program. Now, number 10, we just saw him on there, Ja Morant. I already told you, I got him projecting out pretty nicely, about 37.9 points. This is a buy low spot, like I just said, for Kawhi Leonard. This is a buy low spot for Ja Morant. He's 7,200. This guy was just $8,000 like a week and a half ago before the All-Star break or right after the All-Star break. And also, I should probably let you know that Andrew Wiggins is in the picture right now on the screen because he went the fuck off yesterday. He scored 66 points. If people are wondering why he's on the screen on that version. But we can see right here, this is the season so far and add more funds. All these stats, all the different efficiency metrics, the table that I built that I think is important. You can see Ja Morant averaging 1.14 fantasy points per minute this year. Ja Morant lately has been playing, 33, 34 minutes per game. If we just give Ja Morant today 33 minutes, that's to actually see exactly what I projected him for. On my projections right now, you can check them out down below on Patreon. I currently have Ja Morant projected for 33 minutes today. At 33 minutes, just by his season averages today, so if he just plays to his season averages today, he's going to score about 37.6 points. Not taking into account a ceiling, anything like that. This is a median projection, pretty basic. I have him right around 38 points today. He's underpriced. Ja Morant basically today should be $7,500 to $7,600, especially in this matchup going up against Golden State where there's just nobody left, right? No meat on the bone on the defensive standpoints right now when you take Steph Curry off the court. Eric Paschall, not as good. Well, he came into the league. Paschall's a really good defender, improved his offensive game in the league as well. So there's really nobody there to be stopping him, especially at the rim protection, James Wiseman. So Ja Morant, $7,200. Lovely play. Number 9 plays Paul George. We kind of already broke this down when we were talking about Kawhi, right? You're getting similar players here, except Paul George is $900 cheaper than Kawhi. Why is that? Well, Kawhi plays more minutes, 35 minutes on the year compared to Paul George, basically 33. Okay, so that 2-minute difference, is it worth $900? No. Paul George coming off of a game where he played 41 minutes and now he shot back-to-back games 18 plus times. That's very encouraging to see. So I personally think that these prices should probably be like 90 on this type of a slate, like $9,500 Kawhi Leonard and $8,800 to $9,000 flat Paul George. So this is a massive underprice here for both of these guys. Again, they're very similar players. 1.25 about fantasy point per minute producers comes down to the minutes. And because of that massive difference in price, give me $8,300 Paul George, who looks like a very lovely play. The number 8 play in the slate today is Dwight Howard. Still no Joel Embiid out there. Dwight Howard's been seeing the minutes as of late, right? You're getting more secure minutes in Dwight Howard, and I'm not even going to project him for that secure of minutes because we never know where this can go with Dwight Howard. But it's a nice matchup for him. Going to be staying out there and really centers in general. Bradley, Dwight Howard, they can't go as much small ball with Mike Scott or Tobias Harris at the 5 because Sacramento, who they're facing, has 48 minutes of bigs. Hassan Whiteside off the bench, and then they're going to be starting Rashawn Holmes. But Dwight Howard in the last couple of games, 30 and 28 minutes against bigger teams, right? New York, he played 28 minutes against them. 30 last time out against Milwaukee. Giannis, Brook Lopez, right? Bobby Portis Jr. off the bench, a decently big team. Looks good, getting double-doubles in back-to-back games right now. He's playing well. I'm not projecting him for 28 or 30 minutes at this point. It's just been 2 games because before that it was 20 minutes, 18 minutes, 24, 12, right? Some of these games off the bench as well when Tony Bradley was starting. So right now, Dwight Howard, I'll give him 26 minutes today. Even if he comes off the bench, he seems like he still plays that amount of run, and Bradley only plays 20 minutes. The 1.75x multiplier in Superdraft, who, if you want to try them out, there's links in the description for new promotions for Superdraft, $25 match, things like that. But $6,000 today is a fair price point. It's not a great price point. It's a fair price point. For Dwight Howard's ceiling, if he could play 30 minutes and have one of those 40-point games, it's a fair price point. But $6,000, it's not like slapping out. It's not. I just laughed to myself. I said slapping out. It's not standing out. Slapping out just sounds like the last thing you ever want to do in public, the last thing you ever want to do to anybody. Slapping out, I mean, that just sounds like what Deshaun Watson was trying to do, and that's not great. So Dwight Howard at $6,000. Yes, he's going to be a fine play. Basically, our number 8 play right now. Number 7 play is Giannis. We don't have to say much. It's opportunity cost, right? Not only is Giannis the best player on the slate, fantasy-wise, by far. There's no Jokic's anymore, no Hardens, no Lucas on this slate. He's by far the best, projecting out for 12 more points than anybody else. He's the only guy above $9,500 in the slate. I mean, Kawhi at $9,200 is definitely appealing. Ben Simmons at $9,100 is not going to make this list, but he's close to making this list. These are good options, but they're projecting out for like 15-point differences than Giannis. So Giannis on a bad day today. Sal, you worried about a blowout in San Antonio? They have a 118 team implied total. It's a nice pace spot with 104 projected possessions per game. Am I worried about a blowout here? No, because if Giannis plays 28 minutes and scores 53 fantasy points, a very bad game at $11,000, right? It's not something I'm concerned about. He's still probably going to be my highest projected player. Giannis is our number 7 play, and is as simple as that at this point because of the differentiation in fantasy points points. I have him projected for 59.34. Again, if you want to check out Prize Picks, we already have the over on Giannis, 56 points over there. My number 6 play in the day is going to be Andrew Wiggins, the man who popped off yesterday, the man who is the little face on our other screen that we have. Look, $6,300. The price point does come up. It should come up because of what he did yesterday. He shot 24 times yesterday in 34 minutes of play. He picked up 8 rebounds, which was good to see as well. And look, now you're just going to be projecting him. I'm going to give him today 33 minutes. I'm going to be giving him about 1.05 fantasy points per minute. And I have right now him projecting out as our number 6 overall play. Andrew Wiggins currently for me, if we had to see the exact projection right now on DraftKings, is going to be 33.99 points. And that can only get better if you want to give him 35 or 36 minutes today. So give me Andrew Wiggins at 6,300. There's not much more analysis here. Steph Curry is doubtful. As long as he's out, then we're going to be going to Andrew Wiggins for more solid minutes and more ball handling responsibilities. That's what you saw yesterday. You saw not only the assist percentage come up, which that didn't even cash in on. I think he only had 4 assists. That could have easily been 6 or 7 assists if there was more shooters out there to be making their shots for him. Having to rely on Damien Lee to shoot actually decent, 58% was nice to see, but he had more ball handling responsibilities, not just like shooting off the dribble, more abilities to do things with that. So $6,300 Wiggins, 1.5x multiplier on Superdraft is also in play for me. My Superdraft interest, so right now in terms of my overall player pool early on, I only currently have, I believe, 8 Superdraft interests and in terms of yeses, and then there's some more guys who are in the player pool. Wiggins is one of those. Right now on DraftKings, in terms of yeses, I currently only have 13 players, 12 of which are going to be featured, I believe, in this video as of right now. So to the top five we go, and now we get into our top 5, and the first one's going to be Shake Milton, and I want to let you know about just the offerings. We have projections, ranks, we have an optimizer, the big energy optimizer as well, and you can see the big energy optimizer on the screen. It might look intimidating. We now have randomness per player, things like that, but let's actually build an optimizer as we talk about our number 5 play in the slate. So you can check out this optimizer. It's linked down below. It's included in some of the Patreon tiers, which makes it very, very affordable. We'll go 3 people max from a team. On a 4-game slate, actually, we can go 4 people max. Let's go 3 uniques. If you have any questions about any of these, I have some videos on Patreon to help you out. And we'll go 27% randomness. Let's build 150 lineups. So we'll generate that, and we'll actually look at what some of the lineups are looking like right now, some of the top projected lineups. We usually do this on our live streams later in the day, so, be sure to like, subscribe, do those things. But we'll come back to those lineups in a second after we talk about Shake Milton. There's no Seth Curry today, which means more minutes overall locked in for Shake Milton. If we slide our way back over to add more funds and we take off Seth Curry, look who's all the way up at the top. We'll zoom in on this one for you. It's going to be Shake Milton. Why? Because he plays the most minutes with Seth Curry off the court. Curry playing 28 minutes per game right now. Lots of times he gets into the 30-minute range. Shake Milton now, who already plays like 18 to 20 minutes a game, is going to get the ability to fill in for that. He averages a 26% usage rate with Curry off the court. He averages about a fantasy point per minute, as close as you can get, 0.99. The 22% assist percentage. I love another way for you to bail me out if you can't make your shots. Get me 6 or 7 assists and we'll take it. I personally have Milton projected right now for 30 minutes today, and I feel very good about that as a top 5 play for us. Let's go back to the big energy optimizer now, and we can see right there, look at that, the top 5 play right on cue. So this is the highest projected lineup right now. This is without me putting any player groups in. So I'm going to be setting up some rules and things like that. So this is not like going to be anywhere near the type of final lineups I get, but this is a top projected lineup right now. Like this is probably what you'll see as of right now based on the news for cash type lineups. Shake Milton's in it. You get a bunch of Golden State guys because of the value. Damien Lee, Andrew Wiggins, Kelly Oubre, Giannis, of course. I mean, I guess my Giannis exposure is going to be massive. If I had to guess, Paul George, Zubac, some guys on the slate that we have talked about or might talk about. This is what you're kind of getting out of the big energy optimizer. You can set in some player groups saying like, okay, I only want a certain amount of guys from Golden State today. Only give me, if we were to do this right now, Damien Lee today. Jordan Poole you can throw into this one as well. And then let's put somebody else into this group that might do something. Not your Nico Mannions. Although we could put like all these guys in here, right? We could put Nico Mannion in here. We can put these guys in here and say, I want at most 2 of these guys. This is just an example. Maybe you don't want them at all. But now the optimizer will give you, maybe it'll give you 0 of them. It could give you 1 of them, but it's going to give you at most 2. So you can't get all 3 of those guys together, which starts to make your lineups a lot more secure. So I'd encourage you to check out the big energy optimizer. There's some tutorials to kind of let you know how to use it. It seems to be very helpful for a lot of people. Some people have already won $4,000, $3,000, $7,000 in the past couple of weeks since we started this and launched this at the beginning of March. So be sure to check it out. It is linked down below, included with Patreon. Something that might be worth doing on this optimizer, like another little bit of a trick today, is very simple. Giannis Antetokounmpo, you click the lock button on him, right? If he gets injured, oh well, you pack your bags, you're going home. You click the lock button on him because he's projected for 12 more points than anybody else. So I think that could be pretty interesting to do, is just click the lock button on Giannis and go from there, because there's nobody else that is anywhere near his caliber on today's slate. So the number 4 play in the slate we go, and it's a very easy one. Yes, his price point's now $5,100, but look, Jordan Poole was already playing 24 minutes when Steph Curry was in. Steph Curry is out. Jordan Poole plays 34 minutes yesterday, and he checked out with about a minute. He would have played about 35.5 minutes if the game wasn't over. So he started, he got the closing run, he closed the entire 4th quarter except for that last minute of the game. He's averaging 1.07 fantasy points per minute and 1.1 fantasy points per minute without Steph Curry so far on the court this year. He's very easily a top 4 play for us. He should arguably be higher, but since his price point came up, my rating on him is not going to be as good. I mean, it's still pretty fucking good though, as our number 4 overall play, projecting out for over 28 fantasy points for me. I'll be interested to see if they add a Jordan Poole prop later in the day on Prize Picks, because if it's anywhere below 28, if it's like 26 today. I'm taking the over because there's a lot more upside to Jordan Poole. I only projected him for 30 minutes today as well, Jordan Poole. He just played about 35 yesterday. He would have played. So if you think he plays 31 or 32, yeah, he's going to start quickly becoming our number 2 or number 1 play today. But I already have enough of him at 30 minutes, so I feel okay with that. Our number 3 overall play, Miles Bridges. Now, this one might seem a little bit interesting. And this might be a spot where we can get a guy who's maybe not super low owned on a 4-game slate, but lower owned, right? This is a guy who's been priced at $4,500 pretty consistently. The minutes are kind of up and down, if you will. He's a small forward eligible player. The minutes, I would say, it's not as secure, 28, 20, and 25 over the last couple of games, although that Denver game, it was a massive blowout. So I have him projected for 28 minutes today. Now, why do I like him today? Well, there's no Cody Zeller, and that's pretty important because now PJ Washington is going to slide to the 5 more often, which means Miles Bridges slides to the 4 more often. Miles Bridges at the 4 means more rebounding upside, right? So this is a guy who's now going to play 10, 15 more power forward minutes, which means that you can roster this guy who's getting increased run at power forward, which means his fantasy point per minute production will go in those 15 minutes or so from 0.85 to maybe 1 fantasy point per minute, which bumps his projection. Increased minutes now with Cody Zeller out. You have to fill the rotation, especially at power forward and center, where Miles Bridges will get some more run, and you can roster him as a small forward today. So at $4,500, not as enticing on Superdraft, a 1.75x multiplier, but I like it because PJ Washington will slide to the 5 more, maybe even start there, which means Miles Bridges has a lot more upside to get playing time at the 4 today. Our number 2 overall play is going to be Damien Lee, and this one's pretty interesting as well because Damien Lee yesterday got the closing run. So Nico Mannion, yeah, sorry guys, he didn't end up panning out with any closing run or anything like that. And once Kelly Oubre was in, we saw the projections reduced on guys like Nico Mannion, Juan Toscano-Anderson. These guys didn't look as good yesterday. A lot more fringy, if you will. But we got to see Damien Lee yesterday play a decent amount of run, and he's been a quality player. He was their best player on their team last year when you saw Steph Curry here, when Draymond was busted up, right? Obviously, Klay Thompson was out all year. This was the best player on their team last year. It was like Alec Burks for a certain amount of time, and then Damien Lee. Damien Lee got to close that last game out. He also checked out with about a minute left, a minute and 31 seconds left in the game, just like the rest of the starters did. But Damien Lee played 28 minutes and got the closing run, playing off the bench in that game. Now, sure, him playing well, shooting 4 of 8 from 3, shooting 8 of 14 overall in the game, staying out of foul trouble. Sure, that's going to lead to more run for him, but it's nice to see. He's $3,400. I said you don't need these $3,000 guys today. So if you don't want to come down here and take the quote-unquote risk of playing Damien Lee, I'm fine with that. But Damien Lee right now is going to be getting secure minutes, in my opinion. You could probably rely on him for at least 22 minutes. Yesterday in the first half alone, Damien Lee played 12 minutes. So if you don't even give him the closing run, he would have played 24 minutes in that game. The closing run gets him to 28. So right now I have Damien Lee projected for 26 minutes today. Again, barring foul trouble or a blowout, I think his floor is 24 minutes. There's still down bodies in this rotation with no Pascal, no Wiseman, no Steph Curry being the big one. And right now at this cheap price point, it makes him pop up a little bit more for me. Also had 14 shot attempts, which was good to see. Our number 1 overall play, Ivica Zubac. So this is assuming, of course, that Serge Ibaka is out. I'm currently projecting Serge Ibaka out. If Serge Ibaka is in, we have no interest in Ivica Zubac. Zubac right now I'm projecting for about 1.05 to 1.1 fantasy points per minute against Charlotte, who is down bodies. PJ Washington is not a small player by any means, but he's a small 5, right? Compared to Ivica Zubac, who's going to have a lot of upside and weight on him. I have Zubac today projected out for 31 minutes. If you project a guy out for 31 minutes and he averages around 1.05 fantasy points per minute, he's going to start to project out for like 32, 33 fantasy points, and he's only 5,100. Zubac today, assuming that Serge Ibaka is out, should be more so priced around $6,000. So he's massively underpriced. I have Zubac for 32.84 fantasy points. Track Prize Picks and see if he comes out with a prop somewhere around 28 to 30 and hammer that over if so. So if Ibaka is out, Zubac is the best play on the slate right now. So this starts to make the slate pretty interesting. You have guys like Brook Lopez we talked about, Dwight Howard, Zubac, right? Giannis, who's power forward and center eligible. How do we start to fit a lot of these guys into our lineups? I would prioritize, as it stands right now, at the center position, Zubac. I would prioritize Dwight Howard over Brook Lopez. But man, we got some nice options early on. So thank you for tuning in today. Thank you for coming here for all the schmacks. Thank you for celebrating some of the national calendar days, or at least being aware of them early on. Please do, before you go, like the video, hit the subscribe button, and also if you're watching on YouTube, that notification bell. We'll be live later today at 4:30 p.m. East Coast time. I always say this. Let's see what time the NBA actually starts today, and then we can actually do some of this stuff. The NBA starts today. Is it 7:30 or 7? It starts at 8 p.m. today. So there we go. We're going to be updating that. We're going to be live today at 5:30 p.m. East Coast time. So I'll put the scheduled video out. You can set the reminder on that, and be sure to tune in live. We'll be talking more about Prize Picks, obviously this slate, going over any injury news, building some more lineups on the optimizer, and doing everything we can to help you today on this slate. We'll also be talking about some MMA stuff later in the afternoon. Maybe I'll go live around 1 or 2 p.m. East Coast time. So again, be sure to check that out. From me, myself, and I, support the sponsor of the show, Prize Picks. We currently have the overs right now on Giannis and the over on Ben Simmons, waiting to get more props later in the day, but we'll take the over on 43 Simmons, over on 56 Giannis. Check it out down below. That code SAL, S-A-L, will give you a free dollar Ruski bonus up to $100. You all rock. I appreciate you for tuning in. I'll see some of you, and hopefully all of you on the live streams later today. Enjoy your weekend. You know, I mean, look, You're above the ground 6 feet, no matter how much problems you have, whatever it might be. Just take time to relax today. Deep breaths in and out. Reach out to somebody and rekindle some friendships, or just, stay in touch. Did that yesterday with 2 of my buddies, and it felt amazing. It feels amazing to just reconnect with some people. The things are starting to get back to normal in this world right now. So do whatever you can to help your mentals out. Do whatever you can to help your physicals out. If you're going on a walk, you can do both of those at once. Just have an awesome start to your weekend, gang. Have an awesome start to your weekend, and I wish you all nothing but safety and happiness today.